Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, on Thursday, September the 4th, and welcome to our commentary. Well, tonight is the opening night of the NFL season. The Cowboys are going to be playing the Eagles. The Eagles are coming. Well, I think we're going there. We're going there, I think. But anyway, we're playing the. I'm not sure exactly now who's going where, so I'm going to have to pass on that one. But tonight's game is the opening game of the NFL season on Thursday night. So we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of expectations about this team, a lot of questions about the Cowboys. So it's one of those seasons where, if they go 6-10, nobody is going to be surprised. But if they go 10-6, maybe 9-7, no one's going to be surprised either. So we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. But it's always fun to start the NFL season, and it's always fun when the Cowboys are starting the NFL season playing against the Eagles, of course, one of our biggest rivals. Well, I have a post today over at the American Thinker. You can check it out, americanthinker.com, where I write about the Secretary Rubio, and his visit to Mexico. On the surface, not much really happened. There was the customary diplomatic, back and forth, nothing really of consequence that happened. We said the right things. They said the right things. I think it's obvious to anybody watching the situation that cooperation between the two countries is essential here. We have a problem. They have a problem. And we both got to work together in finding a solution. Mexico is naturally always concerned about their sovereignty, and that's a good thing. I'm glad they are. But, their sovereignty, big problem with sovereignty is that, when your country is threatened by big criminal organizations, as Mexico is, well, that's a threat to your sovereignty too. So you're going to have to do something about that as well. I hope that both countries can communicate and get some things done. There are things we can do together to fix the border. The border right now is in much better shape than it was a year ago. I think that the policies that President Trump took with respect or made or decided, whatever the right word is, with respect to the border have been very successful. And I think now it's just a question of arranging the economic deal that we put off for 90 days and coming up with an economic deal. We got to take a look at the free trade agreement in 2026. Well, we have to make sure that we revisit that. I'm a little concerned about the influence of China in Mexico because China obviously wants to get into the North American market through Mexico. So I'm concerned about that. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But I think on the surface, it's about what I expected, nothing too much more than that. One thing that I did notice, and I write this in my post, is that Secretary Rubio was given an amazing reception by Mexico. I mean, if you were watching the news down in Mexico, they reported live. I mean, they had cameras on over at the airport when he landed and how he got out of the plane and how he went to, I guess, the U.S. Embassy where he stayed, and then the next day when he went to meet with the president of Mexico. All of this, as the motor parade or whatever it's called, motorcade, was traveling through Mexico, through the heart of Mexico City, Paseo de la Reforma, for those of you who are familiar with that. And it was really, I thought, was pretty amazing coverage. I mean, I don't remember any other Secretary of State getting a reception like that. So obviously, the Mexicans thought it was an important visit, and it was an important visit. So we'll see how it shakes out in the press conference between the two foreign secretaries, Secretary of State and the Mexican foreign secretary. They answered the questions pretty much as I expected. Right now, it's basically what's going to happen next, and what is we got to see the results of whatever they discussed, and I hope the results are that we're going to work together very closely because we have common threats, and that we're going to try to get things done. It's in our interest. It's in the interest of the United States to have a stable and prosperous Mexico. That's in our interest, no question about that. So we have to make sure that is the future of Mexico is that of a stable country with as much prosperity as as they can put together. By the way, Robert Kennedy was before the U.S. Senate today. I guess one of these presentations that the cabinet secretaries make from time to time. And I thought the whole thing was a joke. I really did. These hearings have turned into nothing but a show. They've got 5 minutes. So you have the senator or the member of the House, wherever the meeting is or the hearing is, and they just give a big speech. They try to take down the witness. In this case, many Democrats were out to get Kennedy. And at the end of the day, you don't learn anything from it, because all you learn is that the Democrats are still angry at Robert Kennedy because he left the party. I mean, that's all I learned. A lot of the issues are extremely complex. They cannot be reduced to little sound bites. And, I don't know. I was very disappointed. I saw a little bit of it. I saw some of the clips. And honestly, what a waste of time, really. I mean, when you think of the seriousness of the topic of vaccines and everything else, what a waste of time. I honestly thought it was a complete waste of time. I thought Robert Kennedy was defended himself very well, and he shot back extremely well. He obviously was expecting this kind of treatment, and I thought he shot back and defended himself quite well, actually. But did we really learn anything from any of this? I don't think so. I don't think we really learned anything, because the hearing didn't lend itself to learning anything. It was just, we're out to get Kennedy, and I just didn't think that was very productive, frankly, for the American citizen who's watching this, who maybe has a few questions that he or she would like to ask. I've got a post coming out tomorrow, Friday, about Vice President Vance and his wife went to Minneapolis to see the families or to visit the church and participate in some ceremony, I guess they were having up there about this horrible thing that happened a week ago, the shooting. And, I thought the vice president and his wife were very elegant and very proper in what they said and how they behaved. But as the vice president was getting to the church and they were getting out of the car, all these protesters were out there protesting, things about, let's think about protect children, not guns, which is an extremely idiotic thing to say. Or then there was other signs about transgenders. And I'm saying, what a terrible moment for people to protest when you've got the vice president, and on the other side of the door, you've got the families of these children. What a terrible time to protest. I mean, if you want to protest like that, I guess it's a free country and you can do it. But can we at least have a little bit of sanity in all of this? This stuff about let's protect the children, not the guns. Well, I actually agree with that we should protect the children, which is why many of us were completely astonished when we saw this, or we saw the video, or we heard about this incident up in Minneapolis, only to find out that there was no protection in the church. No protection in a church school. There were no guards. There was nobody with a gun in that vicinity, in that parking lot, who could have at least confronted this person, young man, I guess he thought he was a young woman. But this fellow, as he was approaching the church, there was nobody there to confront him. Which, you want to protect the children? Why don't we begin by protecting the children? Why don't we begin by actually allowing some of these schools, or working with some of I know they're private schools, but still, I mean, there are children in there, and their children pay taxes. Their parents pay taxes. So can we not have maybe a little protection, provide these schools with the opportunity to protect themselves, or at least give the parents the opportunity to maybe carry a weapon so that they can defend their families if something like this happens, or maybe the teachers so they can react to something like this. I mean, I just thought, first of all, I thought the idea of a protest, at a funeral, not a funeral, but an event like this was absolutely horrific. The idea that somebody would actually show up there to protest. What are you protesting? Leave these people alone. Let them deal with their horrible, absolutely horrible, grieving that they're going through. I mean, losing a 8-year-old child in a shooting. How horrible can that be? So why not just leave them alone and let them grieve, have a little peace, and then you can march later, you can protest later, or as as Vance is going to the airport or whatever, you can do your little protest, but not in front of the church. That's just insane. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just bad taste, and it doesn't look good for the people who are protesting. Well, let me tell you a little bit about on this day in history, 1951. So that would make it September 4th, 1951. President Truman gave the very first national televised broadcast. He was speaking, I don't remember where, and it was the first time that a president's speech was carried live on a televised broadcast on this day in 1951. We've come a long way from that day. I mean, now we have everything on TV. Everything is televised now, but that was the first one. So that would make it 74 years ago? Yeah, 74 years ago that President Truman was able to deliver a national broadcast on what they used to call television back then. There weren't that many, so not that many people saw that probably. I wonder how many Americans had televisions on this day 74 years ago. Probably not many. So anyway, I thought it was an interesting thing to recall on this day in history. Have a good day, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye, everybody.